Okay, so hello everybody. We're finally ready to get started, and welcome to the Strategy Journey Kickstart Masterclass and Workshop or Challenge with me, Julie Choo. I want to start by saying a big thank you to you all for coming here, and also for those of you who have purchased the book, then thank you very much. This particular masterclass is obviously a free open masterclass, but if you have purchased the book, if you are here today or even if you're watching the replay and you are one of the first 100 people to sign up to the workshop series that we're launching, which is going to be further live sessions with me to work through the mini course in a more workshop style format, then again, I'll be providing a link at the end of this masterclass so that everybody can actually register for that. I want to start by saying that I don't take it lightly that you are all here joining me today, but time is precious. And time is money, and time is the most valuable resource in the world, and time cannot be replaced. Once it's gone, it's gone. And so once your opportunity is gone to do anything that you want to, then, well, you've missed it. So this aspect of what time is really important in the whole strategy journey. And the thing is, time and your time can be leveraged more effectively. So part of the strategy journey and what I want to be showing you and teaching you is actually all about how you can leverage the tools in the strategy journey for your own purposes in your businesses, in your careers, and whatever it is that you actually go about doing. And leverage is the most valuable source of ROI that you can get from your time and from using the tools in the strategy journey. So I'm using a lot of these things in relation to time and leverage because the truth is a method like the strategy journey and all the tools that we're going to be talking about, it's there to actually support you with your business. And when I talk about business, I'm actually going to get into the definition of what is a business in just a second. So why are you here? And I've talked about the ROI. What kind of ROI are you seeking for or from your time here with us? And so I hope that in everything that you're going to be doing, you're always going to be thinking about ROI. And this is the kind of mindset that I want to get everybody into when they come to think of the strategy journey and what they're going to be doing with it. So whether you're already familiar with what is the strategy journey or not, you're really here to learn how to use the strategy journey and the tools on offer to navigate your way through different business journeys. And I just want to remind everybody then that there are actually 5 stages in the business journey, which I call the strategy journey. So the strategy journey describes what these 5 stages actually are for businesses of all shapes and sizes. And why does business exist? Why does business actually transform? Why do you have innovation? So every single business is actually going through these 5 stages from motivation and leadership into business design, value design, business architecture, and business transformation. What I really want to stress is that as a business navigates through this process, it's actually solving problems, serving customers, and providing value. Now, so that I have a bit of bearings as to why you're really here, because the strategy journey is actually really, really broad. Can you add in the chat which of these 5 stages is of the most interest to you? Okay, so if you have a current work problem or an area in your career that you want to address, come and tell me in the chat. Please let me know which of these 5 stages is actually of most concern or most of interest to you in your career, in what you're doing at work right now, because that's really, really important for me and for you to be clear on what that is. And actually, when we get into the exercises in this masterclass, it's going to be so obvious as to why it's actually important for you to take a stance and say in which area you want to be starting your strategy journey with. So I'm just going to give everybody a couple of seconds to, keep adding what you see as your priority stage in the strategy journey process. And I'm going to keep going while you guys keep adding that. What I want to indicate is that the strategy journey isn't just a one-time process, because every time you actually navigate your way through the strategy journey process, then it just starts again once you've solved the problem or you've gotten to the end. And so this is why being a process that just keeps cycling through, we call the strategy journey the business life cycle as well. And so with the strategy journey life cycle traveling around, I think it's really important that everybody understands that all businesses, teams, organizations, big or small, and your personal journeys too in your career, you're constantly navigating through these 5 stages along what we call the business journey. And you can enter this process at any stage, or you could be at different stages of this process. So how do you keep re-entering, navigating through these different stages? Well, that's what we're actually going to be showing you how to do in today's masterclass, and actually in the 4-week mini course that's going to be coming up. So it's important for you to understand where you're entering so that you know how to leverage the tools, from what angle you're going to be leveraging the tools from. And before, remember when I mentioned that there are many different types of businesses? The term business, which you'll find me explaining on one of our latest YouTube videos, which I've provided a link below after this masterclass. But if you have already been there and you have already seen it, then you'll know that when I refer to the word or the term business, I refer to all sorts of different businesses. And I want you to know that you can actually apply the strategy journey framework, the tools that are on offer, and this process to every single type of business that is actually possible. It's your business. What are you actually doing? Your personal, your career development, whether you're actually a consultant or a coach and you're a freelancer, whether it's a real company, big or small, including startups and the business that they're conducting, whether it's an internal business. So if you're a part of an internal team or a function and you actually have to support another part of your organization, your business, or other teams. So think of teams as being a business too, because teams like football and in sports, you have teams working together. And then finally, even your home and your family is a business, because you have a business to conduct in running your household. So again, I want to be very, very clear that when we actually talk about business in the strategy journey, we're referring to every single type of business that's possible. And the strategy journey framework are these 5 models: the mission model, the business model, the value model, the operating model, and the transformation model that supports the different 5 stages in the strategy journey, the process that will apply, that you can use with a set of different tools that will support all angles or all the different types of businesses that are part of what you would be getting involved in your life, in your career, in your lifestyle, in everything that you do. I want to point out an example of one of our alumni, who is Stefan here. And Stefan, he was one of our original Kickstart backers. And so he's had the book for a really long time, and he's been interested in the book for a very, very long time. And Stefan actually joined us for one of our deep dive learning programs. What I want to indicate is how Stefan was able to use the method once he actually started to apply all the different tools and techniques properly from the strategy journey book to his career, to his business, to his work. He came back with an email and quite a lot of feedback about how he was able to use the techniques and the tools from the strategy journey framework to update his CV, to look over his past experiences so he could actually interview better. He started applying for different roles and jobs that he previously thought were beyond him. And he felt that through learning the strategy journey and applying the different tools and techniques, he was able to stretch himself and have the confidence to actually go into new roles and try new things, and also to be able to find solutions and support his customers, his bosses on his contracts better, differently, and with confidence. So this is really what the strategy journey is. It is actually a problem-solving framework. Now, Stefan, obviously being an alumni, he's in our strategy journey community forum. And everybody who's bought the book will have access to this forum. There's a whole bunch of different things that are available in an offer within this forum that you can access. There is a standard set of tools from all the access to the different canvases. And obviously there's private access to further things if you're actually joining any of the specific courses. And the Kickstart Mini-Course is actually available within this forum. So, I wanted to just sort of give you a little bit of a taste of it and to see what it's like if you're not already in there. And again, if you've actually bought the physical book via Amazon and you didn't buy the digital book, you don't yet have automated access to this forum. So I'm going to be providing a link at the end for you to be able to join the forum. You just need to go in and request access and provide your proof of purchase, and then we'll actually automate your access so that you can then join us in the forums and access all the resources. Now, who am I? Why should you be listening to me? I think a lot of you do know a little bit about my profile, but I just wanted to come back and actually talk a little bit about it, because I think it's important that you understand the strategy journey method and where it's come from and how that helps you to see the total dot joining process and everything that you can learn and that you can actually do if you were to apply it. So I'm Julie Choo, and I have a number of different roles, from becoming a tech entrepreneur these days. I'm a strategic advisor. I'd still like to call myself as a UX or product designer. I've coded in the past. I speak at events. I also am the author of the Strategy Journey book, and some would say I'm also a coach for various different professionals. I do a little bit of coaching for executives. And what's included in everything that the book is about, the framework, and everything that I help other people with, is actually about 100 plus billion in experiences working on transformation projects, dealing with thousands of people worldwide. So there is a breadth of experience from me that's actually included in all of the examples and case studies and everything else that's in the book. And so part of this mini series or mini course, I'm going to be pulling out a lot of those examples and showing you how to actually get your hands dirty and applying them in real life situations. And I've been teaching and sharing prior to the book being finished, and also since then, with a number of different organizations and at a number of different events that I've had the pleasure of speaking at or being a part of, or training courses that I've run. This is just a handful of the companies that I've actually worked for, with, or taught, or run workshops at. And what I want to indicate here is that it's not just them learning from me, it's actually me learning from them. Okay, or from you. Every time I work with any of you, any company, I am actually trying to work out what are the problems that you're facing, pulling that into my huge research pool and understanding how can I help you solve those problems, and then looking at maybe anonymizing it and sharing the learnings that we build together to show other people with similar problems how to apply the strategy journey method and solve their problems that work for them. And so I want you to know that the strategy journey method isn't just a method that is compiled from just my knowledge. It's compiled from the knowledge that I've gained from working with all of these different companies and all of these different people. And also all of these different mentors of mine, people who I've worked with, who have helped me along in my career and who have actually guided me in these different stages of the strategy journey process. So you can see some of these people are actually my co-authors. Graham is here, Sam and Lauren, and some of these people are my ex-bosses. Some of these people are now my clients. Some of these people are colleagues still, because I'm working on some side investments and projects with them. It doesn't ever stop. And as I said before, the people who've joined my programs, including yourselves who will be joining the Kickstart Mini-Course, I'm learning from you too. I try to understand what are your problems so that I can actually keep improving the strategy journey method to keep helping you work out how to actually leverage these different tools that are on offer. And so the Kickstart Mini-Course is what we're here to talk about today. What's actually going to, what am I going to be teaching inside of these? I'm going to be showing that to you. But just remember that you do need to actually have the book first, because we're going to be referring to the book a lot throughout the Kickstart Mini-Course. So if you don't have the book, then you can't access the resources in the course. And on top of that, we are going to be running that inaugural series that I talked about for the first 100 people enrolled. So what is the strategy journey method then? And what is the difference between the strategy journey method and the framework? And I talked about the framework being the 5 models before that accompany the 5 stages of the strategy journey process that every business goes through. And the difference between the framework and the method is that the method isn't just a cherry pick list of tools that you may or may not use. The method is What are the different paths that you can take to solve the problems that you have? What are the different tools that you can apply? Because if you've got a copy of the Strategy Journey book, there are a lot of tools in there. I have packed pretty much everything that I could possibly pack, included in a 333-page book, all these different techniques. And there's so much in there that most of you are probably here because you're wondering, well, how do I use everything? How do I apply everything? How do I actually map what my personal problem is in my work situation to the right tool to actually use? And so the methodology is actually part of how we show you how to do that so that you can go in and actually apply yourself, go through different exercises, and get into working out which are the right tools to apply to your situation. And so 5 models actually move through, and you can leverage them depending on what your problem actually is to solve your problem. And if you didn't join us and learn how to use the tools properly, just remember that there's a reason why people might be struggling, or you might be struggling to understand, well, how do I apply all of these different tools? Because tools in themselves are pretty much useless unless you know how to execute with them. You can learn all the theory that you like. I mean, the book at the end of the day, even though it's got some practical examples in it, is a book of more theory. So you're really only going to get all of the benefits if you start to apply and implement. And so as part of the mini course, I want you to see it as a bit of a challenge, because we're actually going to get you to really think, to act, to complete exercises, and to get into actually solving real problems that you actually have. And I do want to make it very, very clear and debunk one of the biggest transformation myths that are out there, that roadmaps are the be-all and end-all of everything. I don't know how many times people think that I need a roadmap and the roadmap is going to solve all my problems. And I want to be clear that roadmaps do not solve problems. Roadmaps, without a game plan, is a list of randomly sequenced tasks. And it's really important that you understand that. And why am I basically saying, well, a roadmap is a useless tool? And the reason for that is because what actually happens is that by human nature and the way that most of us like to solve problems, we jump from an idea straight into implementation. And we miss the design process, the human-centered design thinking process steps that are so important to actually directing and focusing your efforts towards the actual problem that you're meant to be solving and what kind of transformation that you're actually seeking. It's so important that you don't go straight from an idea to jumping straight into a roadmap, listing out loads of random tasks, and then go about running projects and spending money and doing all sorts of different things, whatever that project or whatever your business is. And it's important that you apply some simple tips and tricks that we're going to be showing you today, as well as in the mini course, to start applying design thinking using human-centered design and a little bit of data science to solve your problems. And at the crux of it, that's what the strategy journey methodology is, a set of tools to help you apply human-centered design. So what is human-centered design? It is actually about solving and finding the sweet spot and getting into the problem that exists between the customers, users, and stakeholders or partners who have those problems, who have pain points, and who have expectations, and the value proposition or the solution that you're involved in delivering, where you're going to actually provide all of that different value for them, and the resources, yourself included, who is going to be involved, your team, yourself, who's going to be involved in actually delivering this value. And it's not just about delivering the value for the customers, it's also about working out the ROI for yourself, for your organization, for your team, for your career. And that's what human-centered design actually is. It's about this sweet spot in the problem-solving process. And so how do you work out which path to take? How do you work out how to start and get into the strategy journey? It's about answering and working out how to conduct human-centered design and getting into what I call are the 3 principles of the strategy journey methodology. It's about being problem specific, because there are just so many different problems to solve in life, in society. These problems is actually what leads to businesses existing to begin with, because when you have problems, that's when there are actually services and products too that you can provide to solve these problems. And this act of serving customers to solve problems is what it means to be service-led. Finally, we have businesses deliver the outcomes and experiences of value to solve those problems and for those customers. And that delivery of value is what it means to be value-driven. These are the three principles that I need everybody who is going to be solving problems using the strategy journey to get into their mind, into your mindset, that this is actually the way you lead and direct yourself, your teams, and how you go about not just using the strategy journey method, but period, to solve problems in business, in your business. I hope you can see how those three principles actually maps to the three digital economy challenges that actually exist in our society, which have only been heightened in the last 2-3 years by COVID. And the three different principles map to the fact that our society, our economy is full of disruption. We all know about that. And there is just so many new different customer journeys because of the way that people have changed their lifestyles, how they think, act, and behave, the tools that they use. There's more people spending time using Facebook and on TikTok and social media than ever before. If you have a look at only from 2007, before the smartphone and the iPhone came about into the marketplace, people weren't doing the same things as they are today. There are a whole set of new problems, from mental health issues to more of a need for work-life balance and to use digital apps to do all sorts of different things that have actually come into people's lives and their lifestyles and change the sorts of customer journeys that you need to provide as a service provider, as a problem solver using the strategy journey method to them, your customers. We've all heard about the different supply chain issues that are going on in the world right now. You know, it's causing the cost of living to increase, energy prices, a shortage of different products, and also increasing costs for certain products. So with all of these increased costs, well, transformation was always a challenge for a lot of organizations to begin with, but it's even more of a challenge now to be able to transform what you do as an organization to deliver your products and your services and your solutions, even if you are just an individual doing it, more sustainably. There is no time to waste anymore. You simply cannot be wasting time or money, because remember I said time is money. Because if you are doing that, if you're spending a lot of time making everything so complex that you can't actually solve your problems better and faster than your competition, then you'll miss the opportunities that are actually available to you, whether it's a new job because you treat your business as your career, or whether it's a new opportunity to launch a product in the marketplace, or to get a consulting gig somewhere, or whatever that might be. And so I want to get now into the exercise that we're going to be doing and help us to work out what is the ROI that we're seeking from the book. Before I asked you which of the 5 stages of the strategy journey where you've got a problem that you're most concerned about, that's really the real reason or the real cause of why you're here and what you want to use the strategy journey method for. So we're now going to get into an exercise using those worksheets that I provided before. We're going to go through a design thinking exercise so that you can actually see what it's like, get a bit of a taste of how you get your hands dirty or minds in gear to actually get into the strategy journey. And if you've seen the book, or if you've got a book, then you know I like to cover things with the why, what, and how. And so what we're actually going to be doing in this exercise is to look at the why, because the why comes before the what and the how. This being an introduction, we're going to do an exercise to get into your why for your career or your job, and to help you understand why you're really here. Because at the end of the day, why do you want help from a set of tools like the strategy journey? It's to help you with what you're doing in your work, in your life, to support your career. And so I'm just going to give everybody a minute or so to get their worksheets ready. I hope that you've had a chance to maybe put it on another screen, or, I don't know if you've had a chance to print it. I know I only just gave that to you at the beginning of the masterclass, but it's really important that you can see it as we're now going to get into these exercises to start the design thinking process. I want you to get into the practice of practicing it, into the application side. We're now going to get into this exercise to explore your 3 whys for your career using human-centered design. I thought, what better thing to do than to actually look at your career, because I think that at the end of the day, you're all really here seeing this method as a set of tools that will really, really help to develop your career. So I'm actually going to apply the strategy journey method, or help you to apply the strategy journey method to your career as a business, your career journey, as we're going along in today's exercise, so you can get a real feel for how to think, how to apply the strategy journey methodology, because it's all about being very, very practical. If you don't do the work, you're not going to get the benefits. If you just buy my book and Graham's book, and you've just got it sitting on a shelf and you're just looking at all the pretty pictures, you're not going to get the benefits of the tools that are in there if you don't use them and you learn how to use them and get your hands dirty, getting practical with them. And these 3 whys related to your career, and I'm going to be showing you that, they're really going to set up the foundation for your success in your business, in your career, to help you gain that clarity and the focus, and also to help you prioritize. So the first exercise, or the first question, or the first why that we're going to get into is, why do you do what you do? And I really want you to think about this, because here's the hint that I'm going to give you. What is your role? What is your mission? What are you seeking to achieve? For whom will you help and serve? And I'm going to show you my model answer, but I really, really want you to actually answer this question for yourself, and also think of it from the perspective of what I've put down as Aristotle's 4 pillars of a good life: health, wealth, knowledge, and connectivity. So what are your values in relation to these 4 pillars? This is a model answer that I've come up with, because this is actually my answer. Okay. And I want you to go away and obviously work this out for yourself. In fact, if you've started looking at these and you've got parts of it to share, please do so in the chat, because I'd love to see it. And at the same time, when you do join us on the mini course, you're going to be taking your answers to these exercises into the next stages. So why do I do what I do? I'm an educator and a coach, providing advice and support to help business professionals at different stages of their career navigate the spectrum of problems that cross their paths in their jobs, businesses, teams, and companies along the business lifecycle. My method provides tools and techniques to help people to join the dots in their work life better and faster, saving them time and money and gaining career satisfaction. I had a go at putting this together myself, because how am I going to show you how to actually apply the strategy journey method if I'm not showing you how I've applied this to myself? And so it's really important when you're applying the strategy journey method that you actually think about yourself first. Now, I know that some of you might be on a project and you're thinking, I just need some answers and solutions to get straight into helping me solve my problem. And the truth is, if you don't think about yourself first and what's in it for you, you're not going to be able to find the best solution for the problem that you're going to be solving. And I'll explain why in just a second, but bear with me, trust me, you really, really need to understand why you do what you do. Because if you do get clarity on what this is going to make you your best self. This is what's going to be what's really motivating you to actually do the work that you do for whomever it is that you're doing it for. Those customers that you're serving, the companies that you're working for, the teams of people that you're working with. And so it's really important that you define what this is and also address what are your personal values. So when I talk about health, wealth, knowledge, and connectivity, my personal values are in health, personal development, and transformation. This is what I seek. I want career satisfaction, just like everybody else that I hope to support. I want to overcome obstacles and solve problems. These are the things that actually help with my mental health, my confidence about me and who I am. And then when it comes to my personal values around wealth, I'm doing what I do because I'm trying to create passive income sources for myself and also increase more personal time. I'm trying to build multiple income streams so that I don't just do a 9-to-5 job. But obviously, that's for me. It may not be the same for you. And because I have the book, I have intellectual property, and I have a business, from a wealth perspective, I'm also looking at how I can actually leverage the assets that I've got, the book, the methodology, and everything else to get into developing my business, growing it, and also increasing its value. And then when it comes to knowledge, I'm constantly able to, through what I do, get access and to learn about new innovations and the latest technology. I also have access because I'm constantly researching and speaking to people. I get access and I get to learn about what constitutes as value to different people, to different organizations. And also in that, I get access to information about what some of the best and newest investment opportunities might actually be. Some of the things that I learn about technology and innovation, it might influence the way I would even trade or buy shares to a company. So you can see how, why do you do what you do? You need more than just, it's my job. I've been told to do it by my boss, and this is what I do. If you're only going to be robotic and following instructions from your boss, then that's pretty much asking for yourself to be replaced by a machine, because you're just following a process. You're doing tasks according to a roadmap. There is no real intelligence or smarts in this process of what it is that you're actually doing. And the connectivity values are through what I do, I get to meet and share with people and to relate to more people, including you guys. I get to help others learn and grow. And finally, I get to form genuine relationships and make new friends. There are so many people that I have met both online or in person at different events that actually add value to my life and my lifestyle in what I do. And this is what makes me proud of what I do and makes me happy to keep doing what I do and in my job. So I really, really want you guys to go away and do this exercise. And by all means, please share some of those in the chat as I'm going along, because I want to show you how you can connect these personal agendas that you have deep inside you to how you apply the strategy journey method and how it makes you tick and think and join the dots to how you solve problems for your customers. Human-centered design is, as I said before, is all about mixing those three aspects to get to the problem sweet spot. And it's so important that you don't forget that very, very important part of human-centered design, which is your ability to think differently, your ability to shine and to be different, and your ability to be strategic, to be tactical, to think and to solve problems for your customers and your organization and for yourself differently. You're the one that can make the difference. So I want to be very, very clear here why we're actually starting this exercise first and why it's so important that you go away and do this exercise. So again, please let me know that you're really thinking about this. If you've got any ideas of what these are, what are some of your values, what do you seek from this course, please share them in the chat. And then by all means, complete this exercise. And when you're actually coming on to the mini course, I'd love to see everybody's answers, because it's part of working through these with you that we're going to be getting into connecting this dot with everything else that you're going to be learning in the strategy journey method. What you can see here is in human-centered design, we've just covered that first box on the left of the business resources, you being the primary one, that differentiation difference maker that is actually going to be delivering the value, but then you know what's in it for you, because that's what's really going to drive and motivate you into the right suggestions and solutions and working out the right answers for your customers and providing the right value. I'm going to just digress slightly. There was some people that I worked with, or a company that I worked with, and they were responsible for UX, and they were trying to design a product. And this product basically was a solution that no customers and no users wanted, because the internal designers were designing it for themselves only and not the customer. The important thing about human-centered design that's different from designing it for yourself is that you have to look at both sides. So we've just looked at the internal, your side. You may want to repeat this exercise and do that internal viewpoint for your team if you're working within a team as well. But now we're going to move to the next exercise, which is to look at this from the outside in perspective of what is the problem that you're trying to solve for your customers, users, stakeholders, and partners? What is their main problem? What are their associated pain points? And what are their expectations? And so the second why question is, why does your business exist? So remember I said that there are actually loads of different types of business, and there's different definitions of the word business, including what is the thing that you're doing, your job. Why are you in business? Why do you actually have anything to do? Why do you have a purpose? So this is the outside in viewpoint of your customers, users, stakeholders, and partners who have problems. And this is what it means to be problem specific. Remember I talked about problem specific, service-led, and value-driven. This is what it means to be problem specific, because you don't want to be solving problems that don't exist. And similarly, there's no business if you don't actually tie that business to a real tangible problem that actually exists. So the hint that I have for you in the second exercise, why does your business exist, is what is the primary or core problem and associated pain points faced by your customers, users, that you'll be addressing with your business? What is its purpose, the purpose of your business? So what is this purpose of your business? Now, you can use your role, your job, your team, whatever it is that you're working on, but because we're doing the outside in viewpoint, you need to think about, well, who are you actually here in business to support? Who are your customers? Who are your users? What is the real problem? Why are you even there? Why do you even, have a job? So have a think about that. And then you need to think about your customers' values and what it is that they're seeking in those outcomes and experiences that matter to them. So again, I've provided a model answer for me and for the Strategy Journey Method and for the Stratability Academy. So I help business professionals in all stages of their career to navigate their career journey in different roles that they may have, and to get clarity or clarify, focus, and achieve more and perform better and faster, get paid more, get promoted. This includes graduates, career changers, consultants, business owners, entrepreneurs, freelancers, business executives, and leaders, and aspiring high achievers. Effectively, the Strategy Journey Method and everything that I do is to help you with these sorts of problems related to your career and to the sorts of problems that you have in your roles that you're solving for your customers. Okay, so there is a transference here. And so what are the values that you might have that I could potentially fulfill with what I'm doing with the Strategy Journey Method and the book and everything else? So if you think about it, most of you want some level of personal development and growth. You want career satisfaction too. You want to overcome your obstacles and solve problems that you have in your job role and at work. A lot of you want high incomes and maybe more personal time. You want to improve your reputation and your authority and your rank, in your job or your personal brand. You want access to some of this information about what are the latest innovations and the latest technologies. And you also want new tools and methods that you can try and use to improve your performance. And then finally, you want to develop and grow your personal and business networks. And you want to receive support and give support to others. Now, can you tell me, because you're the customer here, if these are some of the things, if I've hit the mark here or not? These are some of the reasons or the things that you are seeking when you came to learn about the Strategy Journey Method. Are some of these things really why you're really here? And can I deliver these things to you or not, is the question. And so it's so important that you do this exercise for what you're trying to do for your customers, for your job role. That's what your business, if you're involved in a team that's actually going to be providing a service to a set of customers, both internal and external, these are the things that you need to think about and to focus on. How do you actually get into the Strategy Journey Method to solve your problems? And so we've covered the first two, and I want to cover the last one now, which is the value proposition itself, the third aspect of human-centered design. And so the question here is, why do you have a job and a problem worth solving? On this occasion, the business is from the viewpoint and perspective of the solution or the value proposition itself and the value that it will deliver. The thing that you're working on, the value, that has a perspective. Yes, in human-centered design, the value proposition itself has its own perspective. This value is key. And so this is what it means to be value-driven. So we've covered problem-specific, service-led, and value-driven now. And the hint in this third exercise, and I'm going to give you, is what is the value in the set of outcomes and solutions that this value proposition that you're working on in your job role, why you might be here today to learn about, what is it that you're supposed to be delivering? What outcomes are you supposed to be providing? What solution, not the solution, what outcomes and experiences can you actually deliver that actually constitutes value to your customer? And so again, I provided some model answers here. Why do I have a job and a problem worth solving? Because people, business professionals like you, are looking and searching for a portfolio of content, incorporating free and paid for books, tutorials, webinars, masterclasses, online courses, workshops, in groups, in person, exercises, and a whole suite of tools to help you with solving problems in your jobs, in your business, along the entire spectrum of the strategy journey, in your career journeys, and to apply design thinking. This is the third dimension. And so what is the value that the product is going to provide? I hope you can see here that under the values, or in the 4 boxes of health, wealth, knowledge, and connectivity, there's a lot of commonality and similarity between what was in it for me, or the resources, the provider of the service, versus the customer and what they're actually seeking. And then finally, now the value proposition itself, it's actually going to be delivering this sort of value. And so I hope you can see here what we mean by joining the dots and matching and looking at the data and making sure that human-centered design is focused on what constitutes value and being problem-specific and service-led. Hopefully, you've now been through these exercises, you've seen my model answer, you've got the worksheets, and you've downloaded them, and you're now able to take these free takeaways with you and actually work on them yourselves. And it's so important that you get into them and have a go before you join us on the 4-week mini course, which I'm just going to touch on in a minute. And very, very quickly, if you haven't got the book, and you want to have a bit of a sample, there is an 80-page book sample that you can also download to just get a feel for it before you buy the book. And when you buy the book, you'll obviously have access to the mini course, whichever format that you want to buy the book actually in. And so by the end of the 4-week mini course, we're going to cover what's in that now, okay, or the challenge, because you're going to be going through a workshop, if you do decide to join me, where I'm going to actually take you through the journey of getting your hands dirty, not just, passively looking at what I'm going to be saying in these videos that I'll be recording. You're actually going to be involved. You're trying the answers out for yourself and submitting them into the forums and to me during the workshops or before and after. And for those of you who are in the workshop, I'm going to support you. I'm going to look at what you submit, and I'm going to give you feedback, and I'm going to be asking you questions and really, really helping you to work through how you can apply the strategy journey for you and your job role, and to really get into it and to really, really practice using the tool. So that is only going to be available for the first 100 people who enroll in the workshop series as part of the course. If you don't get into the 100, you'll still get access to the replays, but and you may submit whatever you want into the forums, and myself and Graham will take a look at them, but we're not going to be actively supporting you like we are in the workshop series during the 4 weeks of the workshop. So what will you get at the end of the workshop now? You're going to get to build a game plan. Remember I talked about roadmaps versus game plans? We're going to help you build a mini game plan, a mini business plan to help you achieve success in your next strategy journey. So the strategy journey that we're going to hone in on in the mini workshops, what is that strategy journey, that problem, that service that you're going to be working on? And we're going to hone in on that so that you know how to get started, you know how to get into the right sections of the book and to use the right tools to get going with it. And as a result of this game plan, you're going to get a real output and a plan that will form the starting point and the building blocks for what you're going to do next to get into the transformation itself. Because 4 weeks isn't going to be enough to cover a real transformation. You're going to then be able to move to the next stages because you know how to approach the situation now to get into how you're going to apply transformation and really, really get into the real problem that you've got in your work. But we're going to be very, very focused and targeted in the 4-week mini course to get you into that, to open the doors and to, show you how to really use the tools on a real thing that you actually have. And we're going to cover the 3 mistakes to avoid that are preventing you from achieving successful transformation. So what are those? How do you avoid those? And what to do instead? And so there's going to be 4 steps because there's going to be 4 lessons provided over 4 weeks. And it's 4 weeks because you're going to take the time in between each week to do the exercise. So in step 1, we're going to cover the number 1 mistake that prevents you and your projects from achieving effective digital transformation or transformation with real ROI for customers, users, and or business stakeholders. We're going to get into, which is again in the book already, the 10 universal transformation challenges that businesses face in today's world of disruption and fast change. What does that really mean for you? How do you match and map that to how you go about solving your problem? And we're going to get further into defining this problem sweet spot, which you've actually started on today because I've already given you the exercises to really start getting into human-centered design. But we're going to dive deeper and we're going to look at what you actually provide as your answers inside of the step 1 and week 1. So this is why it's so important that you're doing the exercises and I've given you the worksheets to get started. Because if you come in to week 1 and you haven't thought through, and started the process of human-centered design already, you're going to come in and you're going to be behind. And I'm going to be addressing everybody else who's submitted their answers already, helping them while you're still trying to work out and think through the thing. It's so important that you do get into these exercises and provide me with what is your human-centered design career purpose of why you're actually here, what you hope to do with it. And then we'll get into the next layer, the next level of detail to get into this. So that's what we're going to be doing. What is your transformation challenge and how can you achieve your end goal by leveraging your practitioner role and your network? We're going to get into that. Step 2 is what is mistake number 2 that prevents you and your projects from achieving effective transformation, especially in the digital world with real ROI for customers, users, and all business stakeholders. And this is where we're going to cover what is the operating model, what is the target operating model at a very high level, and what are the key ingredients for success when you want to get into operating models. Then we're going to get into what is a strategy journey framework, again, into the 5 models that I talked about, and how to actually use them, when to apply them to solve different sorts of problems, and how do they actually really join the dots. Now, I want to just very briefly state that the strategy journey method, it looks like a sequence. But remember how I told you that roadmaps don't work? I've had so many people ask me this question of, where do I get started? I don't have all the information, and I'm at this stage already. How do I move backwards and forwards? And I want to be very, very clear, the strategy journey is a framework and you can start from anywhere. You don't have to start from the front, okay, with motivation and leadership and move your way sequentially through the process. You can start from anywhere. And what we're going to do is show you how, based on where you're starting, what your problem actually is, what are the key things that you can work on to get going, and how to actually move backwards and forwards through the different tools to help you with where you are. That's what joining the dots is all about. It's not about following a sequential process, blindly and just thinking that that's going to answer all of your questions. That's not how you solve problems. That's reality. We're going to help you iron out and identify the outcomes and benefits that you're seeking with your projects, what you're actually going to be working on, what you hope to use the strategy journey for. So what we're actually going to be doing is how to score your business projects and see the gaps that you could and should focus on to resolve your business problem. So there's going to be a scoring exercise inside of step 2. Then into step 3, we're going to cover the 3rd mistake that prevents you from achieving the outcomes that you want. We're going to get into the 3 paths for effective transformation and into the 5 models a little bit further. And importantly, we're going to show you how to actually get quick wins and what are some of the smaller paths or the baby steps to help you get momentum to solve your problem. And also being what I call tactigic, which is that you're both long-term thinking with strategy, but also applying quick wins and tactics and putting them together. And so what are the benefits and challenges to each of these different paths? We're going to go into that and we're going to help you identify what is the right path for you, for your problem that you hope to use the strategy journey to actually solve. That's why the workshops have been designed to take you through the process and to apply. And finally, in step 4, you'll have experience how to use some of these tools already, even today in this masterclass, but you're going to experience how to use it throughout the 4-week mini course and to get into the context, which is very important. We've started that already, of what is the problems that are there that are facing your career and the business that you are actually working on. It's so important that you have this context and direction, because that's how you're going to be able to choose the right path, choose the right tools, and to really, really move forward very, very quickly. I'm here to save you time and to help you get results faster, not to take you down some long, elongated, giant process that never ends and that you don't actually achieve the results that you need and it's too complex. So the strategy journey pathway is something else that we're going to cover at that point. I talked about the strategy journey moving you through different cycles. What if you're seeking to learn the tools to look at and explore what other aspects to your career or what other new roles that you could take part in? So we'll cover a little bit about how that leads you to new roles, new different things that you could be working on, how you might get promoted, what would be the next area that you could move into. And then finally, you will have that game plan. We're going to show you how to prioritize and get into the next steps for how you're actually going to go away and start implementing using those tools itself. And that's what a 4-week mini course will get you. It's not going to get you the whole strategy journey method and apply it to the nth degree. We have to start from somewhere. And so that's why it's called the Kickstart Mini-Course, because the point is that I'm going to be kickstarting your usage of the strategy journey and getting you into understanding how to use it and practically getting you into a real set of exercises to solve what is your next strategy journey and a real problem that you have. And then you'll come into the community, you'll get to meet me and work with me, other mentors, other alumni, other experts. Now we have just launched that. So there's just a handful of people, actually I think it's about 80 people who've actually clicked on and created their bio to start using it. But the more of you join us, then obviously the more questions you have and the more engaged you are, the more we can help you. And so finally, the Kickstart course and the live workshop series is going to start on Tuesdays on the 24th of May, 31st of May, the 7th of June, the 14th of June. But what this link will do is it just subscribes you to the reminders. You will need to have purchased the book to actually access the forums, and actually the link to join the course and the workshops is inside of the forums already. So if you haven't already accessed the forums because you have a physical book, then please make sure that you go onto the website and go into this link. If you bought the digital book, then you already have access. All you have to do is log in, go into the left-hand navigation bar and actually click on forums. And then it will actually take you into the forums area. It'll ask you to create a bio first before you get started. And then remember I mentioned that there was a companion tutorial about the different aspects of business, get you more into the strategy journey before you get into the mini course. If there's anything that's not clearer based on what I've already covered today. So we do have a YouTube channel, and I will be putting up this replay on that YouTube channel, and also further future free tutorials will be going there. But again, if you've bought the strategy journey book, then you'll actually get more inside of the forums, because we're obviously going to be providing first access, new tools, new things found inside of the forums to the community and the forums and the people who've actually bought the book and who are actually using it and applying it. There's no point if you're not going to be doing application and execution.